What's going on, YouTube? Eric Bauer back again, and I'm probably listening to this music too loud. Oh, what is it, you ask? Why didn't you say so? Shub-Niggurath. The Ancient Ones of Blasphemies. This is a compilation of basically all of their early fucking demos and EP prior to the King-like celebration, and the EP that I can't think of the name of, but have shown on this channel. I love this fucking band. Fucking just merciless death metal from Mexico. It's awesome. I'll turn it down a little bit, even though it fucking rocks. That's a little bit more reasonable, I suppose. Excuse me. What's going on? I'm back again with another video on my channel. That's what you're watching right now, if you weren't aware. If you're just watching YouTube in your sleep, who knows? Who knows what your habits are on the computer? It's been a little bit since the last video that I did, and I've got some more shit I want to talk about. Today, we're going to talk about fucking tapes. I got a bunch of fucking death metal on tapes that I've been super addicted to over the last... I'm always addicted to it, but I've been listening to a lot of these, and I don't know, I wanted to talk about some fucking awesome shit. So we're going to talk about some awesome shit. We're going to go ahead and just jump right into it, starting off with Biogenesis from Germany. This is their debut EP, Ignis Creatio. And what a fucking debut it is. Your J card there. Sweet band photo. Fucking sweet band photo. Lyrics. This was originally released by Osmos Productions in 1992 on mini LP and CD. In 93, no, 92, 93, 92, Carnage Records released this with Osmos, and that's what this version is. It's from Poland. It's an import. If it's Carnage, it's always from Poland. This shit rules. I mean, that's really all I can say about it. Fucking, if you haven't heard Biogenesis, they're a little hit or miss. Their early material, this album here, and the fucking couple 7-inches that came before it are phenomenal. The first two 7-inches are a lot more brutal, a lot more guttural. They really kind of started delving into melodicism and somewhat played around with doom on this album. So you'll hear nods to like My Dying Bride or Anathema, but it's really unique and it definitely stands on its own. I first became aware of this band because they had a track on one of those fucking Nuclear Blast comps back in the day, and it was a track off of their album Sweet X-Rated Nothings. That album sucks. I know it's kind of divisive to say that. A lot of people like it. I think it's trash, especially when you compare it to that fucking tape right there. It's really great stuff, and you know, go listen to it. Fucking pick it up. It got reissued back in 2013 in like a big lavish 12-inch edition, which I don't have and won't be spending the money on. I can't remember the label. It's the dude from the band, Flo Schwartz. He's like the guitarist, main guy from Biogenesis, basically. Went off, started his label after working for Nuclear Blast for a while, and they reissued that album. They have copies for sale on the internet, but shipping to the US is expensive. So I'm not going to be doing that. As I said, wow, I'm rambling a lot so far in this video. I might cough here and there. I was sick and I'm getting over it, so it's just a fact of some shit that's going to happen while I'm talking to you guys. Next tape, we're going to talk about fucking Oppressor, Solstice of Oppression. Oppressor were from Chicago, Illinois, USA. This was released on Red Light Records, which you'll see pop up again. That's your tape. Basic clear shell, as stuff was generally released in back then. I'll show you the J card here. Band photo. Really great fucking cover art there. Got a little fucking order form. I love this fucking tape, man. It is really good. It's really unique, especially for the time and for where they're from. Because back around when this came out in '94, I don't know, I think he had like Cyanide from the Chicago area, Dead Youth, that kind of shit. This is actually quite technical and not just brutal. It's fucking brutal too. Don't think it's not, but it's really technical. There's a lot of wankery going on here, but it's done so well. The solos are fantastic. A lot of fucking pinch harmonics going on this, a la Incantation. But like I said, it's more technical, and it is, again, not to beat on a dead horse, brutal as fuck. You know, it's like if Suffocation were to intersect with Incantation, or fucking Demolish intersect with Pessimist from the US. Really great stuff. Fucking, again, look at that cover art. I want to draw particular attention to that. It's drawn by a gentleman named S.V. Bell. He also did the cover art for Womb Baths, Internal Caustic Torments, Rotting Christs, Thy Mighty Contract. Man, he did the Blasphemy Gods of War cover. Great painting, great tape. Again, don't sleep on it. If I had a beer, I'd take a drink, but it's not even, well, it's 6 o'clock now, my time. So it's getting on beer 30, but it's not quite there yet. Next up, here's a band I've never once seen talked about on the BC. Transmittal. This is El Infierno de Dante, otherwise known as Dante's Inferno. Transmittal are probably one of the longest running Mexican death metal bands out there. I can't think of any bands that have been together longer or put out more releases than Transmittal. Came with this cool thing. I don't know why I kept it. I don't know if you can even see that. It says made in Mexico. Pretty rad. So I showed you the J card. Did I show you the J card? I don't fucking know. We're gonna do that again anyway. There's a J card. And this is another great cover painting. Fucking good shit right here, man. As I said, Transmittal are from Mexico. This came out in 1993. It was released by Discos y Cintas Denver. As you can see on the tape there. And it's just fucking, I don't know, if you were to just hear this, you'd probably think they came from Florida. Straight up. Because they have that sound. It was recorded at Morris Sound. So you can definitely get that from the music. You'll hear a lot of references to shit like death, mid-era death, obituary, deicide, and that's appropriate. Glenn Benton actually has a guest appearance doing backing vocals on a couple tracks on here. Really, really good shit. They did release an American version simultaneously. This is the Mexican version. I believe it's actually all in English, and they recorded it simultaneously, same time as this. In fact, I want to say that they came out at exactly the same time. It's really, really great shit. And again, I've never seen or heard anybody on YouTube, VC, YouTube talk about transmittal before. So there we go. I talked about transmittal. This video is all over the place. Anyway, next up. It's an American band called Sorrow. Got some glare and some lights in the background. That's a cover. Another fucking great cover painting. This album is awesome. Doesn't really sound anything like anything I've already shown. Got the infamous Blue Grape merchandise. Order form, catalog, whatever. The thing that came attached to all the fucking RC Roadrunner tapes back in the day. This was released by Roadrunner, as you can see from the logo. Came out in 1992. Sorrow were from New York. This is called Hatred and Disgust. As far as the music goes, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's death metal for sure, but it exists in that realm of like Winter and fucking Dream Death and the slower Hellhammer stuff. Fuck, even Divine Eve has similarities to this fucking album. I think this album's a little bit more unique than that though. Just to say that it sounds like those bands isn't really giving them a fair shake. It's very slow, it's very plodding, but they speed up often, and it's just fucking filthy, brutal, fucking American death metal. It's great stuff. Cover art done by the same guy who did the cover art for Pierced From Within by Suffocation. Another fun fact about cover art. And yeah, great fucking shit. I recommend it highly. Next album we're gonna look at today. Fucking Gutted. Dude, that painting, first of all, is amazing. Fucking so good. Also painted by SV Bell. Did the Oppressor cover. This is also on Red Light Records. I said we were going to talk about Red Light again. Here it is. Bleed for Us to Live. Gutted. We're from Toledo, Ohio. This album came out in 1992. Band photo. I don't know how to describe Gutted. I mean, I'm gonna try. Really fucking brutal and groovy death metal. It's pretty unique in that sense. Because not a lot of death metal from America, at least, hit the kind of grooves that Gutted did on this album. If I had to compare it to anybody, I'd say maybe Benediction. Maybe. They have that thick sort of like drenched in bass sound. It just sounds like a fucking tank. That bolt thrower sound almost, but definitely more on the death metal spectrum than Sepultura was at the time that this came out, at least. Shit fucking rules. It's hard to find. It's been repressed a couple times recently by Repulsive Echoes, and I'm pretty sure that shit's already out of print too. This is one of my prized tapes. I fucking love this thing. I can't really sing enough praises about this album. Yeah, it's good shit. It's gonna be a ongoing thing. It's good shit. It's good shit. Oh, it's good shit. I hope you can hear that. Fucking brutal. This is Lobotomized, Devoted to God. Lobotomized from the Netherlands. This came out in 1992. Originally self-released. This is a repress on Carnage. Originally, when the band pressed it, I wrote this down. Bear with me a second. Yeah. The band self-released 1,000 copies. Carnage Records then put out 2,000 more a year later. According to Discogs, this is a boot. However, the band did in fact license this to Carnage, so I don't really know where that discrepancy comes from. If you're familiar with that discrepancy, let me know. Sound-wise, it's fucking phenomenal. It sounds like what the self-release version sounded like. They did a few changes with the artwork. Added this color band photo. Other than that, basically the same. And this shit fucking rules. Again, another I don't know. Lobotomized are a weird band. They kind of lost me a few full lengths in, like on the second full length, I want to say. They got a little too fucking avant-garde for their own good. But on this point, wow. At this point, they were still somewhat avant-garde, but they weren't quite pushing it all the way to the front of the music. What you have here is just some super filthy fucking death metal in the Finnish style. In fact, if you didn't know that Lobotomized were from the Netherlands, you would think they were probably Finnish. The vocals are super guttural, the recording's just murky and muddy, and just fucking, it sounds otherworldly and crushing in the way that bands like fucking Demolish managed. Not quite as burpy as Demolish, but I don't know, I think the comparison is kind of apt to a certain degree. But if you want to compare them to something a little bit more accurately, maybe Panthymonium or fucking Alchemist, the album Jar of Kingdom, would be good points of reference. If you're familiar with those and you like them, chances are you're going to fucking love this shit. It's great. The follow-up EP, Preach Eternal Gospels, that album fucking rules too. And both, I want to say, were repressed by The Crypt. And are probably not that hard to find. Tape-wise, tape's not so easy to come by, but what do you do? Here's another album that totally rules. This is Septicemia with fucking Sabbath Conventions. This is a bootleg. I'm pretty sure it's a bootleg. It's pretty nice quality bootleg. Show you the J card here. If you're not familiar with Septicemia, they were a very short-lived band from Greece, and this came out in 1992. Originally just on mini LP, I want to say. Made up of members of Horrified, Nightfall, Kawir, if that's how you pronounce Kawir. So you think maybe it's gonna be black metal, but it's not. It's fucking death metal. Granted, it has that unique Hellenic spin on the death metal. So rather than something that sounds more like Rotting Christ, Veratharon, or Nightfall, it sounds more like horrendous. Not horrendous. Horrendous, horrified. Jesus Christ. Losing my shit over here. Fucking brutal. Can I say that enough times? Fucking brutal. I don't know, this is technically, if you look at Metal Archives, this shit's classified as tech death, which I don't really hear. I guess it's a little bit more technical than like some of their sloppier Finnish counterparts or American counterparts, but by today's standards, this shit is not very noodly, but it's fucking a little bit melodic. It's brutal, for sure. Just really harsh Greek fucking death metal. It's awesome. I don't know, you could compare it to like the early Septic Flesh stuff, as well as that fucking horrified. Sarcastic Terror would be another good point of reference for this album. And this stuff is awesome. It actually just got repressed in a compilation with a demo that preceded this. I don't know who did the repress. For some reason, I want to say Floga, but I'm pretty sure that's wrong. I'm not so keen on the demo. It's pretty good. But it doesn't really sound anything like this. And you're not going to hear a lot of death metal that does sound a lot like this unless you check out Sarcastic Terror or fucking Horrified or the first couple Septic Flesh albums. Great, great stuff nonetheless. And we're coming up on the last cassette I'm going to show you. This is probably the jewel in my cassette collection. One of them. Talking about Pyrexia's Liturgies of Impurity, or Liturgy of Impurity fucking demo. This is a legit version, not a boot, which, you know, you see these things out in the wild and you kind of worry about it. But I took a look at it. Pyrexia is another American death metal band. They hailed from New York City. New York City! Fucking, see, I haven't coughed all fucking day until I sat down to do this bullshit. Anyway, this is a self-released demo. Came out in 1992. And if you're not familiar with Pyrexia, you should be, at least with this fucking material, because this demo is just savage. There was not a lot of American death metal at the time that fucking brought this level of not just musicianship, but just savagery to their music. The vocals are super guttural, which you know if you're familiar with Pyrexia. I mean, this is a kind of like the blueprint for like slamming brutal death metal before that shit existed. You know, if it weren't for Pyrexia, this demo, Sermon of Mockery, you'd have no fucking Deeds of Flesh. You'd have, you know, no internal bleeding. You'd have no fucking Skinless. I don't know. I'd say your closest comparison at the time for this was Suffocation, Broken Hope. It's fucking just an onslaught of violent death metal, and it's awesome. I like Sermon of Mockery quite a bit, but it doesn't hold a candle to the material on this. The stuff is just pummeling, bludgeoning fucking death metal from the US, and it's amazing. Only American death metal of this ilk that I really love as much as these first couple of Pyrexias would be like the old Deeds of Flesh shit, Trading Pieces and fucking Inbreeding the Anthropophagi and Path of the Weakening. That's the type of shit you're gonna get here, but a bit more lo-fi, so summarily fucking way more just filthy, harsh. It's awesome. That's the last thing I've got. 25-minute video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Comment down below if you feel like it. I do make an effort to try and respond to all the comments I get, unless they're fucking dumb, in which case I might give you a thumbs up. Seriously though, let's have some conversations. Let's talk about some fucking death metal. Get this shit. So good. Peace out, YouTube.